Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. We are back on this Wednesday evening, and yeah, football's back, man. It is right here. I was just at Family Fest on Sunday with my daughter. She had a great time. It was her first time at Soldier Field. She's going to be 3 years old. She really enjoyed the balloon stuffed animals. But no, Family Fest was a good time. Um, it was just nice being back at Soldier Field and just seeing some football, and it is here, man. It's funny how quickly the time passes by, and it's just back, and we're entertained all the way through the new year, right, Dave?
Yeah, dude, I was like, this offseason, I was so checked out of football more than I think I've ever been before. I really did not pay attention to even any of the little speculative stuff. And then Hard Knocks came on yesterday, and I started reading some training camp stuff and started listening to Hogan Johns all over again. And I'm back in. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm back in, man.
So I wanted to start off by talking about one of the hot topics recently, and like you said, because we've been on a little bit of hiatus and we're both a little bit rusty, this isn't actually anything new to us. We've entertained this discussion a year ago. And I don't know if we ever went live with it. I think we decided it's not really realistic. I mean, I know we've mentioned some stuff with it, but Micah Parsons, man. So, you know, I had my friend Dan. Oh, there goes my camera. All right, here we go. I had my friend Dan ask me, "What do I think about Micah Parsons to the Bears?" Right, and so, my response has been pretty consistent. Um, at some point, you have to make the gamble, right? Will that opportunity be available next year with a talent like Micah Parsons or Trey Hendrickson, possibly? I don't know. But you can't just get stuck in the middle and pretend that everything that you're doing is going to be fine and then just hover around 500 because it's not a good spot to be, right? At some point, so I brought this question up. If Caleb fails, does Ryan Poles get fired? Everybody I asked said yes, except for you, David. Right? So in my mind, he does. And because of that, that's why I think at some point it's worth pushing the chips all in because you have to make this work. You have to. You really, as a GM, you get, not a very long window to get some type of success going. And yeah, I think I would entertain it, but man, that price,
That's part of the equation too, right? So for me, if you go back and you were asking did we ever talk about it out loud? I can guarantee if you went back through our videos like you do sometimes, you could definitely find some clips about us talking about Micah Parsons and stuff like that. We've definitely talked about this before. The price tag, I think, is the first part of it that is I think the first part of the conversation is the price tag for Micah Parsons. So you're in the pro Micah Parsons camp, generally speaking, you should take that shot and you should make kind of a Khalil Mack-ish type of move.
The idea.
Right?
Yeah.
You like the idea. So let's say Khalil Mack was, just throw that name out there. I think right now, I think Micah Parsons is better than Khalil Mack was then at the time he was traded for. I think he was a little bit younger right now. And I think overall, I think his career path is probably in a better direction than where he would have been or something like that. I just think the name recognition and all that stuff, Khalil Mack was on a bad team and everybody knew he was a good player kind of thing. Whereas Micah Parsons everybody knows he's one of the best players, top 5 defensive player in the league. I think anywhere you'd slot him. So let's say it's Khalil Mack started at 2 first-round picks.
Is he a fit on this team?
I think that's the crazy thing about Micah Parsons is he plays everywhere. He lines up, he plays off-ball linebacker, and they have him play hand in the dirt. So he fits everywhere. I think he would he's one of those few players that you could trade for. It doesn't matter what system you have, and he'd probably fit. In terms of Dennis Allen likes big dudes on the edge, right? And if that's your main pass rusher, I guess it doesn't matter. It's fucking Micah Parsons. But in terms of fit, right? He's not 6'6", 260 like Dio Adengbo or Montez Sweat. So price tag, I think, would be my first question to you. If it's instead of Khalil Mack, 2 first rounders and a second, Is it 3 first rounders straight up? Do you do it?
I was thinking, I was like just imagining the scenario playing out in my head. And there were scenarios where I'm like, okay, 2 firsts and a third. And I could talk myself into that.
There's no way that is the price tag. There's no way.
Any higher you go, I start to kind of take steps back.
I don't think. See, that's to me. That's like it's a little.
What, he's signed for one more year?
Yeah, but whoever he's trading to, you're talking to the agent saying like, if we trade for you, you're signing, right? So he's gonna be your 6-year linebacker. Like he's gonna be here for 5 years, maximum deal, highest paid defensive player in the league history by far. It's just like that's just gonna come with the territory. My issue with it is, and you talked about the window being open. I like that talk because if you see what Ryan Poles is doing, he's lining everything up for the next like 2 to 3 years. Every contract he's signed right now, even like Joe Thuney, re-signs for like DJ Moore, Montez Sweat. Everybody's got like a 3-year at most window, and that lines up with when Caleb would have to get paid on his 5th-year option, right? So at that point, you get to retool your team. With a Micah Parsons 5-year contract, I don't mind that. That's fine. It's all the same shit at that point. But my issue with that is what we're talking about when you say, if Caleb Williams sucks, does Ryan Poles get fired? I'm okay with Trey Hendrickson on a 2-year deal. I'm okay with like a different player on a 2-3-year deal. But the problem is if Micah Parsons comes here and you trade your next 3 first-round picks and Caleb Williams isn't the guy or isn't that good, now you're going to be the Steelers for the next 10 years, right? Now you're looking for like the quarterback, or Ben Johnson's looking for like that one guy who can take his system to the next level or something like that. And you're going to very much limit how you're going to improve your team if you've traded away everything and you have Micah Parsons and no Caleb Williams. If this was 1 year forward and we knew for sure Caleb Williams was good and Micah Parsons takes you over the edge, I would say absolutely that's not really much argument for me if it's 2 or 3 first-round picks, because it just doesn't matter. Like say you're a playoff team and you're already a playoff team, you're in the mid-20s, and now you add Micah Parsons, so now you're drafting 25, 26. I'd rather have Micah Parsons than 3 straight 25th overall picks, right? So that's not the issue. My issue with it is, I think if you're trading for Micah Parsons and you're giving up that much draft capital, to be honest, as much as this is like a crazy thing to say because Micah Parsons is that good, I think if you're trading for Micah Parsons, he needs to be like the second best player on your team.
And wouldn't he be though? So that was going to be kind of be my follow up there. It's like, if he comes here, is this a guaranteed thing? I mean, he is that type of good. He is that type of superstar, in my opinion, where it's like I cannot see him failing. I still think his arrow points up. I still think there's a lot of gas in the tank. He's a young player, and he's been very consistent. He was injured, right? So there's a little bit of concern there. But outside of that, yeah, I think you're looking at like a Julius Peppers type of effect, Khalil Mack type of effect, where you add this piece to the defense and they come in and they produce. They make everybody around them produce more and get better. I mean, I think that's what we're looking at. And if that's the case, then yeah, you're right, David. Like 3 first-round picks, 20 or lower, totally worth it for that type of player. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the problem is that if you take Micah Parsons and you give up 3 first-round picks, I don't know for sure if this team can win 10 games. If you just add Micah Parsons to this equation, I mean, do you though? Do you have to? What if, I mean, you trade for Micah Parsons?
It's not worth it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if Micah Parsons puts you over the edge. I don't know if this is a 7-win team, a 9-win team, or a 12-win team without Micah Parsons. Right?
Yep. There's still a lot of unknown. I agree with you. This is a year too early situation-wise. The reason why you have to entertain the conversation, there you go. But you don't know. You don't know if he's available next year. And that's why you have to entertain this conversation, because although your situation is a year early, the opportunity is right in front of you right now, right? I mean, unless Jerry Jones isn't batshit crazy and Micah Parsons does start week 1 for the Cowboys, which I don't see how that happens unless they throw a bunch of money at him. But I mean, even so, I don't know
if you
he'd wanna be there.
follow the info and you follow what Jerry Jones does, this is his pattern. I mean, Dak Prescott was like a holdout, and then I think he signed the day of their game. They were going to play Cleveland last year, and then boom, automatic contract. Now everybody's looking at Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is an attention whore. He's absolutely psycho. He's delusional. He's old. He's what do you call that when you're old and foolish and all that stuff? Senile a little bit, like
rich billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's just got that syndrome. So like, I would entertain it, I guess, but like in my mind, I just don't think it's wise, and I don't think Ryan Poles knows what to do with that yet. And if he did, I don't even know if Ben Johnson would let him do it, as much as that sounds messed up. Like if it's a conversation and Ben Johnson's kind of calling the shots, which clearly he is in some of the GM conversations because he's drafting tight ends and wide receivers with first and second round picks already. So there's a lot of input from Ben Johnson. Like, is Ben Johnson, and I've had this thought about like how Dennis Allen works into all this. Like if this is a good team, like is Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson like one of those lifetime pairings? That'd be awesome if he's like a Steve Spagnuolo, if he's like a Vic Fangio. He with his experience in New Orleans, does Dennis Allen ever want to be a head coach again? Or does he want to be like a top 5 coordinator for the rest of his career? Right. So you got to ask Dennis Allen, like, is Dennis Allen going to like get Micah Parsons and then walk away 2 years later and then just like go be a head coach for, Miami or some shit because he has a top 5 defense? Who knows? It's too many variables. And I just don't think that the Bears are anywhere near a team that should be even entertaining this. The only reason I would say a bad team should entertain it is because you just have so much money and so much future potential. Whereas like the Bears are supposed to be much better this year. So like the Patriots, while the Bears and the Patriots are on supposed to be the same timeline, I would see a lot more wiggle room for a team like the Patriots to make this move where they don't have a lot of star players or name recognition players. They're doing it like the grimy way. Whereas like the Bears are supposed to be doing, they have a lot of flash, but they don't have a lot of substance. And now they want to kind of add that layer of substance to all these awesome names that are already on the team. So I wouldn't do it if I was Ryan Poles.
Where do you currently think this defense winds up? Do you think it's a middle of the pack defense?
It's hard to say because we just don't know how aggressive Dennis Allen is going to be. Regardless of what happens, I think you're gonna be so uncomfortable watching this defense as a Bears fan next year. Maybe excited, uncomfortable. That's the way I'm gonna be because I think it's gonna be like a riskier defense than we're used to. It was just watching defense last year and the last like 3 years under Eberflus was just so slam your head into the wall because you're just watching these dinks and dunks and cover threes and no blitzes and nothing happens. I think this year, for better or worse, like they're getting gashed on the ground, but instead of just seeing 5, 8, 3, 5, 7, 3, 8, you're going to see 20, -5, 15, -10 interception, right? So it's just going to be a lot more variance type of football than you're used to, based on what I've heard about Dennis Allen, how he plays, calls plays and how he plays his defense and what I've heard from training camp and what it's looked like so far. I can't wait. My gut, based on who was already here, how good this defense was to begin the year. I mean, Tyreek Stevenson, as much as people don't want to like talk about one play ruining a season or just, dismantling a team, like you can believe in that or you don't. It fucking happened, man. That was like a top 5, top 10 unit at the beginning of the season. And then that just like ripped the heart out of them. I see at worst, I'm going to say at worst, this defense is top 15. I say like 15, 16, top half of the league. I think at best the potential is there to be top 5. I think they end up somewhere in the like 10, 11, 12.
So I asked that because I'm curious, kind of just leading into this, where my mindset's at with all this is if your defense is not a bottom tier defense, if it's middle of the pack, that's good enough in my opinion. Because this is still a quarterback-driven league. If your defense is a top 10 defense, then you may be able to cover up some of the negative, mistakes that come from bad quarterback play, right? Maybe, but you still have to come through. Like, what hurt the Vikings in the playoffs? Multiple interception game from their quarterback.
Darnold, yeah.
What hurt the Lions in the playoffs? Multiple interception game from their quarterback. Like, dude, at the end of the day, if you make the dance, like, it's going to fall on Caleb's shoulders, period. I just want this defense to not be bad enough to where he has to carry the whole team. I think you've invested a ton into this offense, right? Like, one of my questions to you was going to be, what are the holes on this team? Like, what are the obvious holes on this team? You've really put a lot into this offense, and whatever holes there are, they're not gaping like they've been in the past. You know what I mean? Like 2 years ago, you were like defensive tackle, defensive end. Like there's multiple holes that we need to pan out. Some things have been patched up here, right? So this team, in my opinion, is good enough, and this is why it's a year early, because you need Caleb to be a goddamn superstar for where he was drafted, for the position that this team is in. I know it's a tough division, but like,
can I add one part to
very
that?
within reach. Yeah, man, go at it.
How much, not only just a reason why you need him, excuse me, to be a superstar. If you're familiar with the Philadelphia 76ers, they kept like losing on purpose to get first overall picks, and they called it the process. And so for like 10 years, they just fucking failed on purpose. Like, Caleb was part of the process. They could have drafted quarterbacks. They could have drafted Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and they pushed and they kicked that can back, and they did it so that they could trust the process and get Caleb Williams, which pre-draft, I think, again, clip it, whatever, anybody you want to talk to who's watched us before, we didn't like the idea of like putting all your eggs in the Caleb Williams basket. If you could trade back and get one of those guys, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and get an extra second round pick or another first round pick and do it. We are always fans of darts at the dartboard. It's never a personal thing, and it's not like hindsight's 2020 because of like Jaden Daniels being good, Drake May being good. It's just, it's a crapshoot. It's always a fucking crapshoot. Bo Nix is right now the best quarterback out of this class. It's absolutely just true. It's a hardcore fact. Bo Nix is probably going to be as of right now, he's the number one quarterback out of that draft class.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, why are the Texans doing well? Because CJ Stroud. Why are the Broncos doing well? Because of Bo Nix. Like, why is Washington good all of a sudden? Because of Jaden Daniels. Like,
so my only point is what you're saying is like why you need Caleb Williams to be good, because the team was the process. This team has been built and invested around him, and while you can still remove him if he sucks and put in Bajan and be good, and if Bajan's a superstar, that's great. That's a nice, fun thing. But that's a lot of like draft capital and team building that you wasted on a first overall pick that isn't being invested properly. So like, we've always said this. We said this about Justin Fields, and we're gonna say this about Caleb Williams. If this guy sucks, we're not gonna stick to it anymore. Like, we're not those guys who are just Caleb fans for the sake of being Caleb fans. We're Bears fans first. So I
think eye test tells me he did really well last year. Stats will tell you, compared to the other rookie quarterbacks, he didn't. The stats are rough.
No, I disagree. I think his stats are. That's one of those things that's funny about the perception of Caleb Williams. I think if anything, the eye test is what he failed, but the stat test he actually did pretty good.
So, I like, for me, the eye test is incorporating those 68 sacks and being like, you still achieved these stats under these conditions, whereas other guys might have had slightly better stats, but under much less chaotic conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, the excuses have to stop, though. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, the sacks are a problem. Yeah, being a rookie quarterback, the expectations are low, this and that. But, yeah, like you said, Dave, the investment is huge. It is time it pays off. And to me, it's way more important for Caleb to go out there and take steps forward than it is to trade away 3 first-round picks for Micah Parsons. I think you'll see much more impact from, you know what I mean, doing that and then having that draft capital there to keep building off of it if it goes the way we think it's going to go.
So this would be one of my questions for you, and it's going to kind of hinge on how much you're following other media sources, because we're not at training camp and we're not, seeing it with our own eyes, but based on reports and based on the facts of what's going on in training camp, what is your perception on how the early marriage of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams specifically is going? And then we can talk about how Ben Johnson's doing with like the rest of the team. Specifically to start, because I do have a Caleb Williams thought process brewing in my head, and it's not going to be popular, but I'm just curious, what is your current perception on the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, like marriage, this forced arranged marriage?
I think Caleb's always wanted to be coached hard. I think we saw the frustration very early on with, my God, I can't even think of the guy's name.
Shane Waldron.
Shane Waldron. Yeah, we saw that by week 3. Him just sitting there with his head back like, dude, stop talking to me. And, dude, I just don't think that the situation here was set up properly. I think Caleb is now in an environment where he is allowed, where he will thrive. I think it's good for him, and I think he is being coached hard. And the things that I keep hearing are, listen, whatever happens, but it seems like we might have gotten this coach right. It seems like we might have gotten a really damn good coach here, because even the guys that have, been reporters for the Bears for years and have been around the team for years, there's always been red flags along the way. You know what I mean? I mean, dude, I remember day 1, Matt Nagy came here and he's like, what's important is we have fun. And I'm like, no, that's not important. We've been miserable. We've been miserable. We're used to being miserable. What's important is you fucking win. Satisfy, not have fun, not club dub when you're got 3 wins on a goddamn season. So
specifically, though, keeping it to Caleb, though.
Yeah, okay, keeping it to Caleb. Yeah, I mean, I've heard good things, and I look at it as a very positive marriage so far.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Do you feel like this marriage deserves more time than this 1 year, or do you think this is like Ben Johnson needs to fix Caleb Williams quickly because Ben Johnson signed up for this job with the knowledge that he had Caleb now? Like, that was kind of like, it's kind of one of these funny things that I feel like disappeared in the offseason and into training camp, is the reason that everybody talked about Ben Johnson waiting a full year, wanting this job, waiting for this job. Like, I've heard anecdotal podcast insiders basically saying, like, Ben Johnson only took the Raiders interview because Tom Brady asked him to directly. He texted him directly. He had no intention of ever taking that job. He did it out of respect for like Tom Brady. And then what were the teams that, were the finalists for Ben Johnson? It was really the Raiders, the Jaguars, and the Bears. And I don't think he was ever even considering the Jaguars. And I don't think the Jaguars even had that kind of clout after seeing who they ended up with. For all we know, he might be a genius, Duval and all that, but Liam Cohen. But like, I just find it interesting that the storyline has disappeared where Ben Johnson wanted this job because of a few reasons. Caleb and, like, I don't know, team build. It was mostly Caleb was the kind of story that was kind of being cultivated, no? That he wanted to come and work for Caleb. That was kind of right prior to being hired, or right around the time of being hired. Ben Johnson wanted this job because they have a first overall quarterback and like a solid team behind him, right? And now I'm kind of going into training camp and all the stories I hear, and it's like, no, Ben Johnson's a really good overall coach, and he's a hard-ass coach, and he's conditioning the team, and the position coaches are doing their job with their positions, and Ben Johnson's a better CEO type than I think anybody predicted, and that's what I've been hearing out of training camp. He's a great CEO type, which was what mine and yours concern was, right? That's why we wanted Vrabel more than Ben Johnson at the time. From what I'm hearing, like in terms of Ben Johnson and Caleb, I'm just a little bit nervous that it's behind schedule. I feel like that's kind of the narrative that I'm feeling. And I don't know. I don't think it's anyone necessarily to blame for that. And if there is any blame to be had, I suppose it's on Caleb, just because that's kind of Ben Johnson's job, is to not just worry about you. you got to pick your ass up. Like, you were a first round pick. You're the best reviewed prospect since Andrew Luck. But in Ben Johnson's new system and how he's coaching, everyone's equal, man. You better earn that fucking job. Like, and I appreciate that and I respect that. And I'm hoping that that's the case that kind of ends up in this team. Like Nashawn Wright playing cornerback number 1 while Jalen Johnson's out. If he's earned his way into cornerback number 2, then he's earned his way into cornerback number 2 at the day 1. Right. So like, that's kind of the hope I have for this team. My concern with Caleb is like, I don't think he'll ever be quarterback 2 if Tyson Bagent plays his balls off in training camp. I don't even think Tyson Bagent could play his way into that starting role. But I'm just hoping that Caleb is. Here's the one thing I've learned about Caleb in 1 year here. He's a very malleable and adaptive quarterback who holds on to the ball way too fucking long. And if Ben Johnson's thing is about, dude, know where everybody's supposed to be, get it, dump it. If it's not there, throw it away. And if we see 2, 3, 4 sacks week 1, my alarm bells are going the fuck off, and not at Ben Johnson. It's all directed at Caleb Williams almost immediately.
No, I get exactly what you're saying, right? Because you can make these excuses and try and explain what we saw last year. You changed a lot. You changed the entire coaching staff. You changed this offensive line. Like, you cannot do all that and then get the same results, right? So what's the constant there? You're going to look at the quarterback 100%. I'm hoping that's not the case. I don't think Caleb wants to get hit. I don't think he had a fun time last year. And he's got to trust the coaching. But in order to trust the coaching, you need the coaching to be good. And so I do think that's why I like where this is going, because I do think the coaching is good right now. It still has to all come together, right? For sure. Ben Johnson.
Sorry about Ben. I was just going to say from like, and this is kind of where I ask, because I'm just kind of trying to entertain my thoughts about Caleb Williams and like how much I like him for coming up this year. And I want to think about, like, realistically, like, what is Ben Johnson good at as a coordinator? It's running the ball, ideally, right? Running the crap out of it. Quick game, right? It's a lot of quick, decisive plays, and then followed with a lot of play action off of the running game, but also relating to quick plays. It wasn't like Jared Goff was patting the ball 100 times, scrambling around in the backfield, and then deciding what to do with it, right? So what is, like, I'm almost just sick of, remember when we made that joke about Justin Fields and Mitch Trubisky? And it's one of those times where I'm starting to worry because the patterns are repeating themselves, right? With Mitch, it was like, what is Mitch good at? Intermediate and short throws and kind of throwing on the run. So what did Matt Nagy ask him to do? Never run and stand in the pocket and deliver deep balls. Well, how you stop trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, right? You're asking.
Said it right this time. You said it right.
I had to. Did you see
my?
I
saw. I did.
I had to.
I would have corrected
through
you
it as I said it. Yeah. Oh man, that was rough. But like, you're asking Trubisky to do the things he's not necessarily good at. Then with Fields, same thing. Dude, run the fucking guy and have him just use that explosive cannon, throw deep balls, and stop with the intermediate timing bullshit. And what did they ask Fields to do for fucking 3 years? Throw slant routes, throw intermediate, throw timing routes. Don't run, don't scramble. It wasn't until, they just said, fuck it, let's have Fields do what he's good at. And that's when Justin Fields had fun, and it was fun to watch him, right? But it was a struggle for a really long time. And now I'm starting to think of, like, is the pattern repeating itself? What is Caleb Williams good at? Since USC, fucking improvising, holding on to the ball, playing Superman ball, right? Like superhero ball. And I don't know. I just don't know what his perfect skill set is. And it's kind of left to Ben Johnson to figure it out and mold it. So I'm starting to go from liking Caleb and not being sure about Ben to being more confident in Ben Johnson than I am in Caleb Williams.
Yeah, no, I hear you, which is weird because I never thought it would go this way, this quick.
Not this early.
Yeah, right. So, I want to say one thing I noticed. I kind of freaked out when we drafted Caleb Williams, and I put a highlight tape together, and I was like, no, I'm just overthinking it. A lot of plays in college, you would just line up, clap, ball, go. And I'm just like, there's no cadence. And then, after asking around a little bit, people are like, well, college doesn't really do that. Like, I don't watch much college ball. Dude, there's a clip with John Gruden and Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Where he's like, show me your cadence. And Jackson Dart's like, he's like, that's it? He's like, sometimes it's, you know what I mean? And it's like, dude, Ben Johnson, I heard him talking about it. He's like, no, that is a weapon that we intend to use. Okay, so things are behind schedule because this kid wasn't being coached last year into doing the things that are required for you to do in the NFL in order to sit there and get on a level where you can manipulate the game, right? Like, you have to get to that point where you're in control as a quarterback, and now you're fucking with the defense and not just like going with the flow and scrambling and trying to use your God-given talent to sit there and make miracle plays. Those are great and when they happen, but you cannot lean on that as a consistent, right? So, like, yeah, I think there's a lot of room to grow. I think there's a lot to coach. I think Caleb is smart enough to be able to take that information in. But, I mean, I'm not surprised that we're feeling the way we're feeling right now because, yeah, it is behind schedule. I think that's totally true. With the atmosphere that Ben Johnson's creating, though, I mean, dude, on Hard Knocks, what was the Bears' request? That they don't swear?
Words.
Did you hear Montez Sweat drop an F-bomb on live TV?
Yeah.
He's like, when you fuck up, pardon my language, blah, blah, and he's just like, dude, with Matt Nagy, I was saying, he got here day one. What's important is we have fun. What did Ben Johnson say on day one? Get ready to be uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, so there's just a lot less red flags with this coaching staff so far. They brought in experienced guys. Dennis Allen's an experienced coordinator. Richard Hightower's, not Richard Hightower, Jesus. Eric Bieniemy is very, very experienced in this league. With
Hightower's still here for the record. He is.
Yes, I know. But I meant to say Bieniemy though. Yeah. So there's a lot to look at from the coaching point of view now. And say, okay, this, even though it's a first-time head coach, this isn't like Matt Eberflus scrambling around to find somebody to be his coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh, Luke Getsy, you're a quarterback's coach. Why don't you try this for the first time while I try this for the first time? And no, this is not that situation, right? It's a lot more structured, a lot more experienced football years in high positive positions on good teams on this coaching staff. So
I think that's one of the biggest shocks that you can watch shows that we did over the year, not year, but like throughout the end of the season into the hiring of Ben Johnson, and how much me and you wanted Vrabel because of a few things. It was just that we know what we're getting into with him. We know what his like accountability level was. And with Ben Johnson, we were just like, it's the name. It's the flashy name that happens every coaching cycle. And it's just like the offensive mastermind. And we just didn't know that this was coming with it. The self-awareness, the unbelievable. And as the coaching staff got built, I just remember being shocked by every name that came up and how many respected NFL names were asking and wanting to work with this guy and for this guy by that means, right? The first few names like Antoine Randall, and then Al Harris, and then Dennis fucking Allen, and then Eric Bieniemy as like your running backs coach. You'd think he was like going to be hired as like a offensive coordinator somewhere. Nope, he's your running back coach. So like I think it's weird to say, and this kind of started there, is like from what I've heard in the slow build of Ben Johnson, this is the first time I can say in a very long time that like I almost have more faith in the coach than I do the quarterback, and that the coach knows what he's doing more than the quarterback, to the point where I'm not going to be frustrated watching going like, what is the coaching staff doing to this poor guy, this poor quarterback? Look at what they're fucking doing. I might watch a play and watch a perfectly designed play, and Caleb just miss an open guy because he's not the one to be trusted.
But it's going to be more obvious. It's going to be more obvious. Because, like, with Luke Getsy, we saw wide receivers running the same route right next to each other. And we're like, well, Did a wide receiver mess that up? Or is Luke Getsy dumb enough to actually draw that up? We don't know.
Exactly.
Now we could honestly say, oh, the receiver messed that up. There's no way that's a game plan. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, no, I hear you, man. But that's why it's going to come down to the players, and that's why it's going to come down to the talent, which I don't think is bad on this team. I think the effort was what we saw a lack of last year, not talent. And so, and I think Ben Johnson, dude, like, we played hard against the Lions. Dude, we played hard against our division. That's why I said Caleb needs to take a step forward here. Like, there is a huge opportunity here. Although we are fourth in the division going into this year, I mean, dude, I still feel like it's any man's game in the NFC North right now. I really do. And it's going to fall on quarterback play for all these teams.
So going back to last year and kind of, it was funny because me and you, I think we're a little bit earlier than most, but even we got bamboozled a little bit and we just kind of laughed about it. All the very, very early red flags about Luke Getsy and Shane Waldron and all that kind of stuff where, you know, the players were like, we don't really know what's going on, or we don't really know what's being asked of us, or we're just kind of going out there and doing our best and kind of figuring it out. And we just ignored so many red flags. And if anything this year,
what did what's his name? The lineman say? We're just doing
Tevin.
what we're being. Yeah, Tevin. We're just doing what we're being told to do.
Yeah. Where'd Tevin end up? On the Patriots or on the Texans?
Browns. Cleveland.
Oh, the Browns. That's right. I could have sworn he ended up on one of those two. Poor Tevin, man, because that's not a good-looking situation this year. So my question is, like, this year, do you have any red flags and or green flags that you've seen so far from these players? And hearing these conferences and hearing Montez Sweat drop a F-bomb and hearing about DJ Moore, you know, talk about, like, yeah, dude, we get, like, what are your early green or red flags? And maybe there's like a shade of gray in between the two of them. But what are some of the, like, things that you've heard that stand out to you as, like, your red or green flags early on for Ben?
So one green flag was, I don't know if you heard this last practice, like 2 or 3 fights broke out. And and then a lot of reporters said it's been the most aggressive type of practice they've seen since Lovey was here.
Yeah.
I mean, good. Like, goddamn good. Like, yes, coach them hard, be aggressive. It's fucking football, man. Like, flip the switch, go out there, beat the shit out of the guy that you're playing against. And I get that it's practice. Well, dude, this team seems hungry. Like, I feel the hunger already. It's starting. You know what I mean? So I think that's great. When it comes to, like, individual players, a little red flag for me was, I don't know. This sits not well with me, and I know people told me to stop talking about it last time. I still don't like the Jalen Johnson contract bullshit. Like, dude, right now it seems like, dude, you should be all in on the team in this situation, period. And so for anybody out there, especially somebody who just signed a contract last year, to be, you know, focusing on themselves. I mean, I'm not sure of the context. I'm not sure if he was asked about it and just responded and whatnot and this and that, you know, but there's that. I'm not going to make too big of a deal out of it. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I can't think of much more. So Tom G says, red flag, Caleb can't throw balls into the net targets. Did you see that video? I did see that. I did. I got all pissed off. Whatever, man. Like, practice, this is when you're allowed to look shitty. You know what I mean?
You know what's nice about this? Here's my green flag.
I remember Jordan Love can't throw a ball, and then we play against him, and he fucking...
Yeah.
Fine.
I remember Jamar Chase said that the ball looks totally different and didn't know how to catch it. So
Jamar Chase, they said he cannot catch a football in practice.
Because the stripes...
When they got him, there were
no stripes on it now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, like, let's calm the fuck down. My green flag on that part and the whole Caleb missing a whole bunch of net balls My green flag on that is that this year it feels like it just kind of goes over the way, like goes over in waves, and we're not like, maybe it's just me. I'm not living and dying on how Caleb's doing in practice, because I think it's a much more of a team practice this year than like, is Caleb as good as everybody thought he would be? It kind of doesn't matter. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier in the show. It just feels more like a team environment of everybody's got to earn their fucking stripes this year. Everybody. And I think that kind of starts with Ben, and then I really do like the stories I hear about Grady Jarrett, right? Joe Tooney, and then just kind of bringing in these old vets to kind of make it seem like a more serious type of team, like with full of veterans with a little bit more. Like these guys are, when Grady Jarrett's making comments and Joe Tooney's making comments about like, yeah, dude, he's a hard ass. He's not letting us take a break, and he's making sure that we're on our shit and we're accountable. And there's no like, it doesn't seem like there's a bitching attitude about it when I hear these stories, which in the wrong context, some of these stories could be taken as a really big red flag. And I think it's because of the discomfort that people are used to as Bears fans with like Eberflus talking about accountability and loafs and hits principles. And what did I say the very first fucking time we hired Matt Eberflus and everybody was talking about loafs and hit principles and all this stuff? And like the very first thing I said, that corny shit, when you're losing, these are grown ass men, and they're going to start rolling their eyes at this dopey idiot so fast when they're losing, because all this stuff is great. And this preachy, fun little, like stickers on the helmets, like you're in college. That's all great when you're a kid, but when you're a fucking grown man paying the bills, like tell me what I need to do better. How do I earn more money on my next contract? How do I get my stats up, and leave me the fuck alone? Right? Like, let me win.
For sure.
So when like the first like tick, whether it could be like, I'll just say this as like, it could have been a green or a red flag, and I didn't know how to interpret it the first time. Do you remember the very first two practices with the first week of training camp? And they were talking about how the first team offense couldn't get the huddle out and couldn't get the play out on time. And Ben Johnson just snapped and pulled the whole first team offense and put the second team in there. And it was just like, get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're doing. You're not doing it. And to me, again, that kind of goes into the whole, like, these are grown men. That's kind of disrespectful. They're kind of doing it right. But I guess at the same time, like whenever I hear good stories of good coaches, that's a little bit more how they start. Is it not? Is that just me, or is that a good thing?
Accountability is not just a word. It is an action. It is an action. And when Tyreek Stevenson fucked up the rest of the season, little did we know, we thought it was just a game. No, he did that. That was the straw that broke that camel's back. When that happened, the conversation following that, and a lot of people were split on it, was, well, do you sit him a game? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that is what accountability is. Unfortunately, Matt Eberflus had a history of establishing a pattern of not holding guys accountable, and therefore it's awkward to all of a sudden hold a guy accountable. You know what I mean?
I'm having like flashbacks right now.
This is good that it starts now, because you need these guys to know, man, this is not time to just fuck around, and like you're either gonna do it or you're not, but the team's not gonna sit here and suffer due to your ineptitude. Like, dude, that is
not only that, shit. But I guess for the older guys and the veteran guys, like this is not their first year in the league. They know how to adjust and learn shit quickly. So like if you're not willing to participate, the young guys might get a little bit of slack, I guess, in terms of just not lack of knowledge. But these older guys, I guess I see the vision now. It kind of threw me off guard, though. The first time I read that, did it not kind of like take you aback? Or were you just instantly like into it? Like, oh shit, that's Ben Johnson's style? Were you just instantly on board, green flag? I didn't know what flag to put up when I heard that first one.
No, to me, this was the stuff I thought he was going to be lacking in. Yeah. So for me, it's like, good. Like, I've just been more and more impressed as we go, and it's because of stuff like that. And it's like, good, this guy's way more of a hard ass than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be a nerd. I thought he was
Yeah.
going to be a fucking computer science analytical fucking nerd that just understands how to call an offense and this and that. But no, this guy is not that. Like, it seems like he knows how to coach football players to be fucking football players, man. And yeah, dude. Like I said, in my opinion, that's all been very, very positive. Arrow pointing up in that sense, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't really have much to add on that in that case, because and what I hear from Dennis Allen is almost identical to him in this case, which is why it was such an awesome pairing. And my biggest concern with Dennis Allen is like I hope he's just not too good too fast and leaves. I hope they're like a lifetime pairing, like some sort of Steve Spagnuolo, Andy Reid type shit, where he's just totally fine being a top 5 coordinator for the rest of his career.
Yeah, definitely. And you want that situation. Like I said, I wish we could have had it with Vic Fangio, but I understand when these guys get an opportunity to go be a head coach, that opportunity comes with a payday that's much larger than you're going to get as a defensive coordinator. So you got to go and at least get that money once. And Dennis Allen did that. He did that. Yeah. He took a shot. He got paid. He may be in a situation now where he's comfortable riding it out, being in a better situation and not necessarily being, thirsty for the money. Like, I mean, not thirsty. These guys earn it. I can't say they're thirsty. Like, who am I? I would do the same thing. I would take the opportunity with a bigger paycheck too. But it's like, if you've been there, done that, then what's left on your list? If you're, comfortable living life, then yeah, let's go out and succeed. Let's go out and win. And now a ring's important to me. I want to win a damn Super Bowl. And dude, in this town, I'm not sure how much they grasp, like the fact that if you do win one, you're not gonna have to pay for shit here ever again. Like, this town will sit here and
worship you.
Yeah, for real, dude. Could you imagine? I mean, we still talk about Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka. Like, it was before I was born.
I'm fine with Dennis Allen being one of the highest paid. I think even right now he's currently, when he was hired, because I remember this was one of the bigger shocks of last offseason was that, George opened up the purse. And I think Dennis Allen's one of already the highest paid defensive coordinators just on paper. I think he's like top 5. So if that's the case, like I'd rather be a top 5 paid defensive coordinator and be really fucking good at my job, focus on what I'm good at. Like, that's my hope and dream, is that Ben Johnson's just as good as advertised, and then Dennis Allen just doesn't really need to go anywhere. Like, he isn't. You're not going to make a lateral move to as a different defensive coordinator. And the guys are right. Like with the Raiders and the Saints, like, yeah, he got fired twice. I mean, he might get it. You never know, guys. If he's like top 3 defense for 5 straight years, he might. But
yeah, maybe. But definitely, we called it, man. It is the summer of George. We got guys dropping F-bombs. George has pulled up his sleeves in his office. Mama's no longer around. It's my team now, right? So
George like looked around 2 times and said, "Heck."
Like, yeah, right. Ooh.
He kind of liked it.
Yeah, right. No, so it's good, man. I'm glad that it seems like the leash is off. You're allowing coaches to coach and just not caring, man. So, like, who cares? The Montez Sweat dropped an F-bomb on, like, it doesn't matter, dude. You know what I care about? I care about production and I care about wins. Like, go out there and fucking win me some games. Like, at the end of the day, that's what matters, period. And dude, I wanted to kind of, I wanted to ask you a question. About obvious holes on this team. Like, if I say that, what are the obvious holes on this team? Like, name me 3 positions.
I don't know if there's any obvious hole, right? Because I think if you had to just draw out the depth chart as we always do, and we love that stuff. Like, in terms of holes, there's no obvious ones. I would say I have 3 very, very giant obvious question marks going into this.
Sure, and we said, those holes are not as gaping as they used to be. A lot of stuff's
because
up. So with all that,
we're straight up talking about the worst positions on the field, like the worst, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, because I don't know, I would have to say something like interior line, like right guard, right? So Jonah Jackson, Ryan Bates. I don't know. I know Ryan Bates isn't good, I don't know if Jonah Jackson's good.
Right guard is my number 3.
Okay. So right guard, from training camp and just knowing what I know, I guess if Jalen's not there, it's cornerback because I don't know how good Nashawn Wright and Tyreek Stevenson are going to be. And then by default, I would say either of the safety positions. So Kevin Byard is great and he did really, really good last year. Jaquan Brisker, I mean, once he's out, like we know what he's got behind him, and Jonathan Owens is pretty good because he played all year. So I guess like I said, it's all question marks. So it's like if you're asking me just the straight up 3 weakest positions on the team, I'll say right guard, running back, and opposite defensive end.
Yeah, so for me, defensive end 2 is my top concern, which is why the Micah Parsons conversation is even entertained on my end, because I'm like, man, not only, yes, you pay a lot, whatever, but you get a piece that in my mind is your biggest concern. Like, I just, is Dale going to be the guy? I don't know. Austin Booker, a 5th round pick? I don't know. Like, we just don't know. We know Montez Sweat is there, but, you know, and that's a very, very, very impactful position. Number 2 for me, I tend to lean left tackle. Like, listen, if Braxton Jones stays healthy all year, I think it's good enough to still just ride out with him for another year if you have to. I think getting average play, as long as the rest of the O-line, you've had so many holes, right? Like, you got to figure some stuff out. However, that is a concern because if he goes down, now what? Like, I don't know. And then if he doesn't go down, he's gone at the end of the year anyway. Like, it's kind of a worry to me. And then for number 3, I have like the 3 positions, and you mentioned all 3 of them. It's between right guard and running back and safety. I don't know which one to pick. Right?
The reason I didn't mention left tackle is I think with what I've heard from Trapilo and Kieran Amagaji, like at worst, whichever one of them sucks, I think the other 2 are going to be fine. I think at worst, you're getting fine play at left tackle. That's the only reason I didn't put that on my list. Now, if we were to change it to my parameters of the question is like, what are your 3 biggest question marks instead of like holes? Because I don't think even the positions you named, are they a hole? Like, is Dayo Odengbo a hole? Is backup Austin Booker a hole? Is rotating Dominique Robinson, a 4-year NFL player, a hole?
Yes. Were you interested in drafting? Were you interested in drafting in the first round a defensive end? Were you interested in drafting in the first round a left tackle? Were you interested in drafting maybe late first round, but still first round, a running back? Like, yes to all 3. And so because of that, I consider it a hole. Yeah.
Gotcha. I agree with you. And that makes sense. But in terms of like productivity, I think the holes have been plugged. But it's more of like question marks, right? It's just Trapilo, like, I mean, from what I'm following the Patriots quite closely, right? Just because of the association to all the players I wanted ended up on the Patriots. Vrabel ended up on the Patriots. You know, I hate to say it. Apparently Will Campbell gets absolutely mauled in practices. So I'm just saying. And then you hear stories about Trapilo just like looking pretty damn good, you know, looking like a first teamer. Mm-hmm. So those are always like fun stories, and it feels good. And again, so many of these drafts, man, the first guy taken is not the best guy. Very rarely does that happen. So like 3 biggest question marks just might surprise you. It'd be back to your list. It's right guard. It really is, honestly, I don't want to say quarterback. I'm not going to say quarterback. It's huge, though. It's a big-ass question mark. I know who's going to play. It's just like, if Caleb kind of sucks halfway through the year, you're screwed, man. Like, that's a whole
then nothing else matters. Yeah, nothing else matters.
It's just nothing matters, and now we're back on the whole, like, do we draft a quarterback in the first round?
But it is a first overall pick in year 2, so you got to...
His leash is very short. Like, his leash is shorter than most. right? I don't know. Like, do you think Jaguars fans feel good about having Trevor Lawrence at this point, or should they have like moved on and just traded him when they could have, or like? Well,
great question.
Trading him is not a great. Maybe if we can get Taylor Dahl back on, like that'd be a great question for her. But like, it's not necessarily that are they happy with keeping him or could they have traded him? But I bet you they're not happy they re-signed him for like the second highest quarterback contract in the NFL.
But if you didn't, what other routes did you have to go? That's what I'm saying. Like, this is why I circle back to the Justin Fields conversation. This is why it was just like, no, you can't do this, because then you give the player the leverage and you put yourself in a situation where you're stuck in a corner. And what else do? You have to pay the guy. Like,
well, this is why I'm so glad that we didn't do what a lot of people wanted people to do with Justin Fields. Like,
right. So
look what ended up happening to that guy. You end up paying him what, $40 million a year, because that's what quarterbacks cost, and then you're what, stuck in purgatory all over again, and you have what, Marvin Harrison Jr. instead. Fucking,
I think he got 40 for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, that's this year because he went from being a backup at the time. He was like probably going to get 30, 35,
if he was
40.
Here, yeah, you were looking at paying him.
Yeah. So
like money, man, for sure.
So my biggest question marks, right guard. Right guard is such a potential catastrophe. Like, I'm just reading stories about Ryan Bates just getting absolutely demolished in practice. And then, yeah, I mean, Jonah Jackson, let's hope he still has some shit left, because he was a really good player. But let's see what that is. Safety is a huge question mark, because if Jaquan Brisker gets hurt again and Kevin Byard just being old, like, you are going to need to really invest in that position in 1 year from now on. So we're going to see about that one. But
I want to just address Tom's point real quick here. Okay, but look at a guy like Baker Mayfield. A lot invested. High first overall pick. Was he first overall? Yeah, he was first overall. What, bounced around 5 teams?
Yeah.
Before he finally landed in a situation that was good for him and he can produce. Like, I wouldn't call him a bad quarterback, but he was in bad situations, and who pays the price for that? The quarterback. At the end of the day, like, your head is going to be on the chopping block, period. So, like, yes, you need to produce, you need to win. Regardless, those excuses go away really, really, really fast, right?
I mean, especially I think that was my parallel for his career. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Caleb Williams' career parallels Baker Mayfield's the most, because I don't know if he's going to get the leash that he deserves here. Like, I think Cleveland regrets not keeping Baker Mayfield in the long run, but would Baker Mayfield be who he is now if it wasn't for him getting let go?
He might have been like Trevor Lawrence. He might have been like Trevor Lawrence. That's why I said, like,
worse. Baker Mayfield's famous for saying
man.
that the only reason he had a career bounce back was because he spent like 6 months with Sean McVay.
And this is why it's so important. Like I said, so important for Caleb to take steps towards being a superstar, because at the end of the day, that is what is going to matter most, period. Like, when you look at the future, he's got to be worth the money when it comes to signing him. He has to.
I don't think
you're paying all these quarterbacks like they're Peyton Manning. Like, you got to get it as close to that as possible so you don't suffer. You know what I mean?
It's not that we hate on Caleb, man. Like, I hope Caleb has like 4,000 yards and 35 touchdowns this year. But like, I think people are underestimating what a good year from Caleb needs to look like. And just like a cute, like an adorable little bit of progression is not going to be good enough, man. Like, it's just not.
No, but I do like his clutch moments, even from the wreck of a season last year. When there were multiple games where I felt like Caleb really at the end of the game played his best. And then coaching fucked him. Like, I thought against Washington, they went and scored at the very end of the game. Like, the first 3 quarters were a disaster, but at the end of the game, you put the team in a position where if it wasn't for a Hail Mary, like, you win that game. And against Green Bay the first time, missed field goal at the end. Like, dude, that sucks. The timeout that wasn't called against, what was it, Detroit? Against the Vikings, you took took them to overtime. Like there were a lot of late game moments from Caleb where that's where the eye test comes in, where it's like, okay, you replicate that with a team that's putting in more effort and trying hard, then you can pull out those wins. You know what I mean? And there's a
don't
lot
get
of
me
wins
wrong, like,
left on the table, and that we need those. We need those.
yeah, he was impressive as shit last year. Don't get me wrong. 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks. Like that's an impressive ass season for the dog shit team and the dog shit situation that he was in last year. But like, I don't know what people are mentally
that's
prepared
legit, real
for.
Bears fan. I'll give you that. That's legit. If those are the actual stats, then I hear you. I was going off my eye test, but you know that's not great. No, it's not.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. So it's just like, what is we can get into this and towards the, week 1 when we do our predictions for the season and all that stuff. But like a good year from Caleb has to break 30 touchdowns, doesn't it? It has to. Like 30 touchdowns and like 4,000 yards.
Yeah, that's my expectation. That is my expectation. That is my
in year 1 when everybody was calling for that. I was like, that's a little fucking silly. This was a little bit closer to what we thought we were going to see. And it ended up being realistic. But year 2, man, like the training wheels are off, dude. Like the guy's played in 17 NFL games. He was durable as hell for getting sacked and all that. There's definitely a lot of pluses to say about Caleb, for sure. The guy's fucking awesome. Like he was fun to watch, durable as hell, tough as hell, good leader, didn't throw people under the bus, all that good stuff, even though he was like in a really shitty situation.
He does need to get better though. He does.
But it wasn't like another year like this, 3,500 yards and like 25 touchdowns and 10 picks. That's not good. Like that's like the cute league. Little level of progression, but that's not good enough to be just like, oh yeah, well, he got better. Yeah, but that's not good enough better. That's like the same level of better.
And I won't go that high. Like,
yeah, no,
that'd be amazing. I'm not about to sit here and say that's my bar. But like, I do think you got to crack 4,000 yards. I do think you got to crack 30 touchdowns. I do think this has to be a balanced team or an offensive-led team based off the way the draft capital has been invested in the recent years. Like that's where this is. You cannot sit here and lean on the defense like you did for the last 3 years and expect them to get 4 turnovers in games and keep you in games. No, I do think you need to drive this thing through the arm of the quarterback, and that's where we're at. And for me, like, there's less hype this year, but that's kind of what makes it exciting because there's less hype because we don't have a first overall pick like we did the last 2 years. That's really what the hype's been about. But now that we've invested that draft capital, I'm excited because it should come to fruition and pan out. Like, you got to see results from all that. And that's a lot, dude. The teams don't get 2 first overall picks in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
We're going on an hour, so we can just kind of wrap it up with preseason week 1. They're doing their joint practices this year with 2 separate teams. I don't know if you saw that, but I think they're doing it with Miami and Buffalo this year. So obviously with those like joint practice games and those teams, you tend to not see a lot of players play in week 1 of preseason. I don't know how Ben Johnson's going to treat this shit. I almost feel like he might just like beat the brakes off of them and make them all fucking play even after practices and just be like, we're going to be tougher than everybody else. What would you like to see out of week 1 preseason? If it matters at all, which it doesn't necessarily, but like what would be a refreshing thing for you to see in week 1 preseason? Because I have
yeah. So like I said, for me, biggest issue last year was lack of effort. I want to see like max effort, period. I want to see guys running through the whistle. I want to feel that hunger. You know what I mean? That would tell me a lot. Like that's kind of what I'm really looking for in that first preseason game is how aggressive are these guys? How hungry are they? Because it sounds like they're ready to go, man. And so if that's the case, that's good. And it'll be evident. You'll see it. You know what I mean? It'll be very, very clear to see aggression in a preseason game. And yeah, I'm hoping for it.
What I'm looking forward for and would like to see is, despite the fact that they're going to beat the shit out of each other in these joint team practices, from what I hear, Miami's going to be a dumpster fire this year. Mike McDaniel and Tyreek Hill are arguing every day and all that shit. I want to see them beat the brakes off of them in practice. And then come preseason week 1, I want to see starters, man. Fuck that. You're not there yet. You're not the Super Bowl team. Like Andy Reid can start his starters for a quarter and the Bears are resting. Get the fuck out of here. If we're following Ben Johnson's pattern and what he's doing, I'm saying I want to see some starters like go for 2 drives week 1, even with these joint practices, even if they are tired. They're going to be tired in the real season. This is what you're trying to do, build a culture. I want to see some full first team reps from a lot of these starters unless they're banged up.
Dude, I was watching a little Facebook short on my way home about these guys talking about Kobe, and they were playing in the Olympics, USA versus Spain, and Kobe's like, play 1. He's like, I know Pau Gasol is going to set up the screen. He's like, I know exactly what the first play is going to be. Dude, he's like, I'm running through him. I don't care that he's my teammate. I don't care. He's like, I don't care. First play, what did he do? Dude, he just ran right through him, knocked his ass down to the ground. He's like, he's not my teammate right now. Right now, it's USA versus Spain. And like, dude, awesome. Like, that is the type of hungry mindset I want. Like, yeah, dude, you could get hurt. You could always get hurt in this damn league, in this sport. Like, it's part of it, man. You are an athlete, a professional fucking athlete. Yeah, go out there and play. These guys' conditioning has been structured in such a way nowadays that it's nothing compared to the physical punishment that these guys used to go through day in and day out. You can handle it. It's fine. Push it to the limit. These guys need to play. They need the game time. Yeah, I'm with you.
I read something that one of the Ben Johnson quotes was like, we're trying to build calluses right now. And that's kind of what I'm talking about in the sense of like, I want them to be callous. I was listening to Charles Barkley on a podcast and he was talking about how the Team USA, when it was like him, Jordan, you remember the Dream Team, all that stuff. He's like, I played 17 years in the NBA or whatever it was. He's like, the hardest practices I've ever been a part of in my entire life was for Team USA on the Dream Team. He's like, we drank beers every night, played cards, stayed up late, went to nude beaches, and then we beat the shit out of teams by 50 points the next day. He's like, but we were fucking having fun. But when I went to practice, he goes, that was the hardest practices I've ever played in my entire life. He goes, because when we practiced against each other, when we played Spain or Portugal or some shit, he's like, they didn't stand a fucking chance. I was practicing against Michael fucking Jordan. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now is like, if Ben Johnson's going to be consistent and follow this model, which is what we're refreshingly surprised by, the Vrabel level of toughness and building these calluses, these guys need to fucking play the first quarter. You haven't earned shit. You're young. You're fresh. You don't know shit about this playbook. We need to see you in action and execute and see what we can put on film and review. You need to review as much stuff as possible. If you want to be successful in the first year of Ben Johnson, then you need as much shit to analyze as you humanly can, and you'll be just fine. Take 2 days off. You're 22. Go get a fucking hyperbaric chamber, an ultraviolet red light therapy, and go into an ice tub that costs more than my car, and you'll be all right. But like, play the first quarter of preseason week 1.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I really am. And I think the opportunity in week 1 of the regular season is right there when you face a Vikings team with a rookie quarterback and J.J. McCarthy. They might be off their game, man. There is
no Jordan Addison. That's official.
Yeah. No shit. There you
Jordan
go.
Addison got suspended, so no Jordan Addison week 1.
Look at that. Yeah. So yeah, dude, like you need to come out hot, man. And in order to come out hot, you need to be ready. Like you said it, David. I don't know about holes, but I have question marks. Okay, so let's answer as many question marks as we can. Let's get the best idea that we can so that, we can put the best possible team out there. Like, that's where we're at. That is definitely where we're at.
We got 3 days until we see Bears uniforms on TV again, Paulie.
Dude, I know. It was so nice being at the stadium. So nice.
Like, Bears Dolphins this
awesome.
Sunday.
So, yeah, I got to thank Shane from Windy City End Zone for hooking me up with the Family Fest tickets. As I said, my daughter's first time at the stadium. And
that's awesome, man. I'm glad she got a chance to go.
Great experience. So, love that place. And she wanted ice cream. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, here's fucking $10 for an ice cream. And I went there, $2. I was like, whoa. George
Nice.
isn't even hanging me right now. Like, look
This
at
is
that.
Family Fest. Well, look at
All
him.
right, good
That's
job, Bears. Like,
good job,
okay,
guys.
all right, yeah. So
Reasonable.
hopefully, we see a change in the atmosphere that we're used to, even from the top level of this organization. So
Sounds like we've already been making them $2 ice creams. Next is a Super Bowl, man.
for real, that's where we're at. That's how it starts,
There you
David. $2 ice
Yep.
creams,
There you
guys. Yeah, well, we wish Carl the best. He couldn't be on with us tonight, but I'm sure he will join us in the future. David, I know you got some medical stuff going on. I'm not sure we're going to be on next week, but we might. I might, after that first preseason game, if neither you or Carl are available, I may go and talk to like Brian, the Packers fan, and be like, dude, just come on and fucking.
Hey,
let's
depending on
talk.
how I'm doing, I could be there in audio or in the chat, but I probably just won't be on camera for a while. So
Yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, it's just fucking Bears talk. So, you know, I love it. You love it. I know everybody who is in chat loves it, and we're all excited for the season. So thank you guys so much.
Back on the swing of things, man.
Yeah, thanks for all the comments, and we appreciate you guys. We appreciate fucking anybody who's in the chat, real Bears fan, Crimson all the time, Tom G, Snacks Garcia, and anybody else who's watching, man. Bear down, guys. It's here. It's fucking here. So we will be on moving forward, and yeah, let's hope for the best from this team, and let's take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of us. So, all right, good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.